In the dead of night the woman discovered something absolutely horrifying. All the neighbors in the entire community had mysteriously vanished in an instant. She rushed outside to search for everyone, but behind her a terrifying scene began to unfold. All the neighbors suddenly appeared at the woman's feet. Then they transformed into pools of black pus and disappeared completely. At first Daisy thought her eyes were playing tricks on her, so she continued searching. But when she stepped into a puddle something even stranger happened. All the houses around her suddenly shrank down to miniature size. It was as if she had become a giant in this world. Just as Daisy felt a chill run down her spine she heard the roaring sound of cars overhead. Thankfully it was just a nightmare. But these bizarre phenomena had been happening more than once. Just a few days earlier Daisy had accidentally entered her husband's workshop. She discovered a detailed model of their town sitting there. The model even had tiny people figures inside. Even the buildings were identical to the town where she actually lived. At first Daisy assumed this was probably just her husband's hobby. She planned to take a quick look and then go to sleep. But when her eyes followed the model to a metal box in the distance she felt something deeply unsettling. What kind of items would need to be stored so deliberately like that? Daisy quickly grabbed the metal box and opened it to investigate. Inside she found a collection of preserved old letters. Just then her husband suddenly returned home. Daisy had no choice but to put the box back where she found it. The incident with the model and letters should have ended there. But the very next day when Daisy was mending her husband's pants she accidentally discovered a note in his pocket. And it turned out to be a love letter written to another woman. This revelation really shook Daisy to her core. From that point on she started having nightmares every single night. She even began to believe that the entire town was virtual. In desperation she reached out to a coworker she had secretly been in love with. She arranged to meet him privately later. However, when her coworker heard the whole story he thought Daisy's suspicions were completely ridiculous. Her husband was the town's founder, so having a model was perfectly normal. And that so-called note was probably from many years ago. He tried to convince Daisy not to be so paranoid. But Daisy believed that if her husband had done something wrong she would have grounds for divorce. That way she could finally be with the coworker she had been secretly loving.